let's look past just the Super Bowl. We kind of even already glanced over some of this stuff already, but we're looking at the entire NFL season now. Surprises, upsets, anything like that. Like here's one. Going over our predictions for early in the season, I want to give Travis credit. He saw a playoff team in this Arizona Cardinals. I did not. And for a second, it looked like Travis's prediction was going to be dead on with the Cardinals being the 2 seed. They just collapsed there at the end. But I have to say, they were a big surprise.
They were a big surprise. And biggest thing that I think will happen with the Cardinals, DeAndre Hopkins is very needed for this team.
Yes, very necessary.
He's getting older. So I don't know what's going to happen with him in the future. Mm-hmm. But DeAndre Hopkins is going to need a replacement. Because he doesn't show that he can stay healthy for a while. And Kyler Murray, it's starting to come out. There's a little bit of drama in there. I don't know what's going on.
We'll see.
So we'll see how that goes.
Here's my thing for the Cardinals. If you want any chance to win a Super Bowl, Cliff Kingsbury has to go.
Get him out of here.
You have to get him out of here. Cliff Kingsbury is not your coach. He's not your coach for the future. He's not your guy. He has poor clock management, poor final game time decisions when the pressure gets onto him. And his offense truly is just predictable. Cliff Kingsbury only got the job because he coached Mahomes. And he coached Mahomes, think about this, Patrick Mahomes, this is who we're talking about here, right? While coaching Mahomes had losing records every single time. Or I think it was like close to mid sometimes.
He a mid coach.
Yeah, just... He shouldn't have gotten the job in the first place. So that's your first problem with your Arizona. But still a lot to build on. That's a surprise for me. Of course, the other surprise is obviously Cincinnati. How far you made it. And we already mentioned you have a lot to build on there.
I got a disappointment.
Who you got?
Got the Packers. The Packers. This was your last season.
Yeah.
They were saying that this is the last dance. Now, we don't know exactly what's going on. Mm-hmm. Sounds like maybe Aaron Rodgers has a chance to come back. Devontae Adams could get franchise tag. So it's up in the air. But I seen the last dance. You saw the last dance post, right? Mm-hmm. The Packers, you guys beat the Niners. You win the Super Bowl. I'm going to say that right now. I think if they just beat the Niners, they win the Super Bowl.
I don't think the Rams go into Lambeau and win that game.
Not at all. So the biggest thing that I got to say is you had an amazing season. Aaron Rodgers won MVP. Devontae Adams had a great season. Yes, you had injuries. But when you got down to it, you had a lot of your players.
And you got them back for that playoff game.
You got your players. Yep. So there's no excuses. Yep. It was win Super Bowl or bust. And they didn't even make it to the championship.
And you had a home game. I know a lot of the complaints that I remember even in the interview when the Niners decimated the Packers in that NFC Championship. Rodgers' first thing that he stated was he's like, we got to get one of these at home. All right, well, you had it at home. You had us in your home. We weren't even fully healthy all season long. We have Jimmy Garoppolo as our quarterback. And you lose. Of course, I want to give...
They lost on special teams.
Yeah, I was about to say, of course, I want to give credit to the defense and special teams for their play in Lambeau, but there's no excuse for the Packers with what they expected for this season.
And also, they lost on special teams, but Aaron Rodgers, you got to put up more points than that. Yeah. We can't have a low-scoring game. You win MVP. Yeah. You can't only score, 13 points, 10 points?
With our secondary?
There's no excuse for that. You have the best wide receiver in the NFL before we found out how good Cooper Kupp was. Yeah. But you had the best wide receiver in the NFL. And he could have still been the best wide receiver in the NFL if you made it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he could have had a chance to keep that crown, make a statement there.
But now it's gone.
Yeah. Another disappointment. Cleveland. You just came back. It just seemed like you just came back from being rock bottom.
Yeah. They were 1-16, 0-16.
It looked like this was it. This was your time.
Yeah.
This was something to build off of. Of course, injuries. Kareem Hunt wasn't there all season. Baker Mayfield was banged up and injured, but it was still a disappointing season for Cleveland.
And I think now there's a chance that Baker Mayfield's not the quarterback.
Yeah, but then there's also talk about they keep Baker Mayfield for another year just to see if when healthy what he does. But then how much of a risk is that? Because then now you're giving up years of your other players.
And Jarvis Landry's, he's okay. He's a good wide receiver too, but he's also not young.
He's not young. He's getting older. You know, that was a disappointment. Then the other one, also in the AFC. I know some people might try to say Baltimore's a disappointment, but
that's not their fault. It was
we
all
knew how
injuries.
injury riddled that team was from the start. My disappointment's the Colts. This was a team that was going to start being argued as a dark horse team that could make a playoff run. And before you even have a chance to do that, you lose to Jacksonville again for the, 6th year in a row? That's bad. That's bad.
Jacksonville's got to be one of the worst franchises of all time.
Yeah, they don't have too much on their resume.
They've never even won a Super Bowl.
No, they haven't been to one.
Haven't even been to a Super Bowl?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And the Colts, who are a pretty well-known franchise.
Yeah.
They've had Peyton Manning.
Andrew Luck. Couldn't do anything with Andrew Luck. He wasted his career, too.
Have one of the best offensive linemen in the history of the NFL, to be honest.
Yep.
Quentin Nelson. Now they have Jonathan Taylor. What do they do with his career? Because this guy right here is special.
Yeah.
You got to get him a quarterback. Carson Wentz is probably gone. Michael Pittman, I was hating on him all year. He's a surprise.
Yeah, Michael Pittman, yeah.
He's a surprise. But
it was good that you finally owned up to your mistake there with Pittman.
I thought he was trash. I thought he was a YouTuber. But, yeah, I think the Colts got to figure something out. I don't think they get a rookie. Do not get a rookie. Because the rookies in this class,
it's not a good draft class.
I don't know. I wouldn't mess with these rookies. But they got to find something.
Either way, you got fleeced out of a first-round draft pick for Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
You almost have to stick with him after that. You have to really see if he can pay off. I wouldn't give up on Carson Wentz that soon because there are still glimpses of how good he looked from previous times. But he did, by the end of the season, really start to fall down.
Carson Wentz is
falter.
Probably a third or a fourth.
Falter, yeah. You won't get the same payback for Carson Wentz. You might have to stick with him after this year. But yeah, and of course, there was like the big surprises. The Niners.
Oh. Niners were a big surprise.
I wouldn't say at the beginning of the season I wouldn't have been surprised had they made this run. But from what they did, where they were looking, middle of the season,
you were saying it was time to wrap it up at some point.
I was thinking we have to start looking at Kyle Shanahan a little bit in a different light. And while I still don't think he's out of the blue yet because of how he finished that NFC Championship game, he still showed why he's still praised as one of the greatest offensive minds in the league right now.
Yeah.
And a very good coach. In the end, this team has great chemistry. They play together well. The culture there is great. And they finished the season much stronger than I expected. They made it to the Final Four.
It's a big tops off to Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, and big heads off. Deebo Samuel, that's one of your big surprises.
He's definitely a big surprise because, yes, he had a good season last year.
Yeah.
But everybody thought Brandon Ayuk was going to take a step up.
Yeah.
And that's not what happened.
Ayuk did good, though. Don't get Ayuk.
He's not bad. But
900 yards receiving.
Who cares about Brandon Ayuk? We got Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, Deebo's this year, though.
Brandon Ayuk. Okay.
Don't hate on Ayuk.
That was cute. But Deebo Samuel is him.
Don't hate on him.
Him in the dictionary shows a picture of Deebo Samuel crying after now.
Travis, you're about to be apologizing to Ayuk after this next season.
We'll see about
Get your apology list up, man.
But the Niners did surprise me, especially because in the middle of the season, I believe they're 3-5,
Mm-hmm.
and to only lose two more games, that's very special.
And then slip in and then make a run after that, beating the Cowboys and then the Packers.
Yeah, that was.
And having the Rams technically dead to rights almost.
Almost went to the Super Bowl again.
Yeah, almost went to the Super Bowl.
Now my disappointment. I got the yeehaw!
Cowboys.
How about them Cowboys, man? Because we started off the season thinking that the Cowboys were them.
Mm-hmm.
This was a scary
And they looked
team.
like it. They looked like it.
They
too.
looked really scary. And we're going through the season. Trayvon Diggs is getting a lot of hype.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know who he was. He was a big surprise this year. Then Michael Parsons came.
Big surprise.
Big surprise.
Did not expect him to have the impact in every aspect of the defense like he did.
Disappointment on the Cowboys. Ezekiel Elliott didn't really have a good season. There's games where Tony Pollard was better than him.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, okay, Zeke, we thought that you were going to be a good running back of all time.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. Then Dak Prescott. He started off really well. And we were like, okay, maybe he's going to get his MVP this year.
And had a very good season statistically.
But when you look back at some of the games,
who they play?
They were playing some trash people, man. The football team, not the Commanders.
The Commanders.
Sorry. They were playing the Commanders, the Eagles. You know, who's the last team in that division?
The Giants.
The Giants. Oh. Yeah, so the Cowboys. People really looked into it after you lost to the Niners. That you guys weren't really that good.
It's funny too because on paper, would you still say the Cowboys have one of the most talented rosters?
They
in football?
do.
They do, right? Then who's the person that's probably going to get looked on? Their head coach, McCarthy. Again, was this a good hire from the start? No, it was not. I didn't think so. And when you lose to the Niners the way you did with 15 penalties, there's a way you look at that. That's a lack of discipline. That's a lack of proper coaching, preparedness, getting your team ready. They were the most penalized team in football after the Raiders. And the Raiders are always one of the most penalized teams. But you know, that's inexcusable, the way that they lost that game. With the roster that they have, so you have to look at McCarthy and you have to think that
that's your fault,
That's your fault. That's your fault. It's no excuse with the roster and the team that you have right now.
They're still very talented. Now, do they have a chance to come back next year and maybe figure something out? I definitely see that. And also in the Niner game, they didn't have Michael Gallup, who has a little bit more experience, a little bit more talent, speed, everything. But if you're going to say that you lost to the Niners because of Michael Gallup, then you got to get slapped.
Yeah,
because
he wasn't.
It's not Amari Cooper or CeeDee Lamb. You gave CeeDee Lamb the ball one time.
Yep.
So the Cowboys, disappointed. You should have definitely. I didn't expect you guys to win the Super Bowl. But should have went further.
I expected at least an NFC Championship this time around. You haven't been to an NFC Championship in how many years now since you last won the Super Bowl? Come on, man.
That's 1990s, ain't it?
Come on, man. Come on. What are we doing here? Yeah, that's a good one. But overall, looking at this season, I have to say this is one of the best seasons of football.
I think it is the best
that
I've watched. That I've been alive for since 2002. I haven't seen a season where I didn't know who was going to the Super Bowl.
You are right, yeah.
And I didn't know which team was the best.
No, there were so many good games too.
And the playoffs, we had the best game of all time.
That is true.
This was the playoffs, Chiefs versus the Bills. What game are you ever going to... 13 seconds? This is going to be known as the 13-second season, man.
Travis, you might have convinced me 2 weeks in a row now. He might be right, because to be honest, it wasn't just the fact that there were so many games of the year in the regular season, so many shootouts, so many twists and turns in the season. The Chiefs from being at rock bottom, getting back up. The Bengals looking good. The Bills looking good. It was so dead even in the AFC that the team with 5 wins was the 1 seed. You know? The NFC was all over the place. It was.
The Raiders had drug dealers and gangsters. And
this championship was so wide open, it felt like, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you might be right. And we did have the best weekend of football ever with those two, with the divisional round.
Every single game was won by a field goal.
Or a game winner. Yeah. You're going to probably be right with that one. I think this is one of the best seasons of football ever. Now, I can't...
I don't know about before 2002. I don't know.
Yeah, hey, I wasn't even, I was... Even 2001, I wasn't really paying attention, I was worried about being a baby and all that. But, this was a very great season. For what I witnessed, I would definitely say it's the best. If not one of the best.
It's the best.
But what a great season.